Welcome to this next episode of the Best Fleets podcast. I am honored today to be talking to the folks from Brenny Transportation. I am talking to Joyce Sauer-Brenny, founder and CEO, and of course, Bonnie Supan, vice president of Brenny. And I want to welcome you both. It is an absolute honor, and also congratulations on your top 20 win in the Best Fleets program. So well done and welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Could you give me a quick rundown? I know you're in Minnesota, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you do some really interesting things in terms of the loads you carry. Can you give me like the 30-second spiel on what Brenny does?
Well, just something recent, which is kind of neat. We're hauling the granite for the rebuild of the Air and Space Smithsonian and in Washington, D.C.
Really?
We just hauled and it completed the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. We hauled the granite for the rebuild of the World Trade Center Tower and the Memorial Park, the waterfalls and so on. We hauled the granite for that. And one more thing, there's many cool things, but we hauled, just because we're women in trucking, but we hauled for a new barracks being built at the why am I forgetting the name now?
That place.
West Point Academy.
Oh, really?
350 loads of granite to build the women's barracks
at West Point.
Yeah, West Point Academy. So
that is cool. So I am a little further on. I actually do want to circle back on being women in trucking and everything that implies and means and all that stuff. So I want to sort of put a pin on that, and then we're gonna get to it in the end. I do want to start with apparently how great it is to drive for you folks. I'm running down all the programs, and one of the things that has popped up a lot lately in sort of the overall industry conversations is about driver wellness. So you have an on-site wellness director, is that right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. What does this person do? How did this come about?
Well, this person is a registered nurse, and we'll work with their drivers on health and wellness initiatives, trying to get them on maybe a schedule of weight loss or helping them find means to quit smoking. I'm the president of St. Christopher's Trucker Relief and Development Fund. If you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So we do work hand in hand with some of the programs that they offer as well and help our drivers. There's a diabetes prevention program that we get our drivers involved in if they so choose. And even the mental health side of health and wellness, which is really part of my heart. That's where my education and degree is in psychology. So I really have a heart for helping people with the mental health side. So our wellness director will set up appointments. Just yesterday, we had a driver in. We work closely with a chiropractor here in St. Joseph, Minnesota, and gets our drivers in. Drivers can't make an appointment a week ahead of time. They don't know where they're going to be. This chiropractor gets our drivers in the day of within, a short amount of time, just knowing that Brenny drivers are, top priority, and he helps us make sure that our drivers are in alignment, so to speak, and get some trucking again.
I can't even get into my family doctor that quickly. So this is impressive. This wasn't originally one of my questions, but you just said something, and I want to talk about it. There, when it comes to mental health, I think that really started to pop up, during the pandemic. Everyone was on a lot of stress, and it was like a lot of other companies kind of woke up to the idea that mental health should be attended to. I have a suspicion that you were thinking about it before that.
Yeah. I like to say, it's hard for us to brag because we've just been doing it, but I like to say that we've been doing this stuff before it was cool, and that's just who we are. It's our culture. And like I said, I giggle because I wanted to be a psychiatrist. That's what I was going to be when I grew up. And so I thought that I was in trucking. Then finally I had a revelation that well, you're going to be able to use that degree in trucking, so let's just keep on rolling. But Bonnie can speak a little bit too to just some of the things that we do as far as mental health is concerned with our drivers and so on.
We actually have a real big library of different books, different videos, different movies, anything that will be able to help with their positive attitude, which also coincides with their mental health. We also have our HR benefits person that's always looking out for different things that are going to be able to help our drivers. With our insurance that we have, there's a lot of free benefits that come with it. So she's always digging deep to be able to, okay, what else can we offer to our drivers? What else is there? And so that really does help with our drivers. And our drivers, they like to listen to different things to be able to help them to be in the right state of mind to be able to be driving safely down the road.
Right. And any mental health type appointments are paid for 100% by the company, including owner operators. So we just feel that's just a huge component of just wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So one more thing on that, I think that when it comes to mental health, the industry, I mean, as I don't even have to tell you, is there's a lot of men, and traditionally we're not great at talking about our feelings. And I think that's probably, you know, triply true in trucking, right? And so how has it been difficult to get people to consider or open up or engage with mental health programs in an industry that is particularly pretty macho, right? And we don't normally talk about those things.
Yeah, and I think that a couple of things with that, with Bonnie and I leading this company, we both grew up with brothers. And so we just have that, you know, we kind of have the macho chick thing going on. But so we get it. And just kind of breaking down those walls. I don't think that the drivers are afraid to come talk with us and get rolling in that direction, because we're not, we try to be vulnerable with them as well. And some of our own struggles and what we've gone through. And I think it's really important for our drivers to know that we're just a bunch of small town. I'm a farm kid. Bonnie's a small town kid. We're nobody's from nowhere. And we're just all working together to try to, you know, do this trucking thing as well as we can. So the mental health component, I think that we have enough intuition when we know when something's not right. Something that Brenny is that we've done since day one. I was really against, and I think you guys know this about me, I was really against the ELD mandate when it first came out, not because of the logging side of things, but because of the people side. We've always talked to our drivers every day on the phone. You can judge by how they sound on the phone, you know, if everything's okay or not. And so we decided that we're still going to have our drivers call in every day. And so we can just make sure humans need humans. It's a fact. It is the way it is. And we can pay attention to what does their mood feel like today? Are they okay? And, you know, is there something going on we can help them with? And so we still do that every day.
And along with that, I want to point out just our open concept that we have here. I mean, we don't have cubicles, we don't have offices. If there is an office, there's great big windows on the doors, there's windows in it. So we're seeing our drivers all the time. And so being able to hear them every day and then to be able to see them, you can gauge a lot by both of those, their tone in their voice and what it looks like through their eyes.
Right. And I think you hit on something else earlier, is that when you're talking to someone, when you open up that space of vulnerability, people tend to meet you there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that was kind of, and I know we were scheduled to actually have this yesterday morning, and then it hit me. No, Monday mornings and Friday afternoons are they're driver time.
Yeah,
drivers are typically leaving out and they're coming back on Friday afternoons for the most part. And Bonnie and I spend time with them and just connect and make sure they're okay. And you know, just like you said, you can get that feel of what's going on in their world by having some short conversations and make sure they're okay.
So for the folks watching, this recording for this was originally set for a Monday morning, and I got an email from you folks. You're like, this is driver time. No, we're not doing that. And so this demonstrates that you're really committed to it. Gosh, we are running through a lot of things. I want to talk really quickly about the tobacco-free bonus. You're really honed in on a, not just a, it's one thing to pass a policy, this is a smoke-free workplace. It's another thing to get to your drivers and say, okay, I want to help you get better and stop smoking, right? Is that a relatively recent development, or was that a long-term thing?
I think we've had that for at least probably 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
If not longer. So
yeah, and then in connection with, again, with St. Christopher trying to, with the Rigs Without Cigs, so promoting both and not just helping our drivers, helping the industry, because smoking is a huge problem with over-the-road truck drivers. So anything we can do to help them, and we've had so many quit, it's just a lot. I smile because I'm so proud of them because I know how hard it is. My husband being one of them, and it's just really impressive when they finally do quit and realize that they feel so much better, and the extra money ain't so bad either.
right.
You're absolutely right. And that there was a phrase used by a company many years ago about trucking. They said drivers don't retire, they wear out. And in many ways, so on the one hand, that's because the work itself is very difficult, but the other part is the lifestyle. And so it seems like you're chipping away at that. There's a better way we can do this. We can keep you healthier, and everyone's better for it.
Right. And just making sure that they're getting their consistent rest. And even again, before the ELDs came, so many people were talking about, oh gosh, now we're not going to be able to, run all these hours and crazy time frames. We never have been like that. We've always, our freight, we manage it so that it is, for the most part, you're going out of Minnesota, you're coming back to Minnesota, or the Midwest, for the most part, not all of our freight, but the majority, so that the drivers have as normal of a life as they can have as possible. And so their families can count on them to see them on the weekends. And the hours that they never drove over hours. If anything, we had the opposite problem with logs, is that they want to take a nap during the day, and the ELDs kind of makes it a little tricky with that. But it's important to have them understand the regular rest and the driving. And we know there are obstacles, no doubt. We try to find places for them to park. That's kind of, we made that our behind the scenes team goal, is that we know they have a safe place to park every night, whether it be at a shipper receiver or if it is at a truck stop they feel comfortable with. We make sure that they know they have a place to park at night and rest.
This is amazing. I want to go up one level here. So we were talking about sort of lifestyle, general wellness, and then I saw something about attending to drivers' financial literacy. So
that's Bonnie's expertise.
Great. because well, yeah, I want to hear about that.
Well, okay, so we will help our drivers out. We have what we call the trucking foundation, and what that is we have money that we have. If driver is in a financial situation, maybe there's something unexpected that comes up, we will be able to help them out with that. But also, we will talk to them. I've had many conversations with drivers, and they're like, I just don't understand what's going on. And so I talk to them about their expenses. I talk to them about the money that they're making. And sometimes they just don't realize that, oh, well, I maybe am doing something a little different, and thank you for your help. And so it's really nice, especially when there's that trust. We were talking before about, being able to talk with them and be vulnerable. And that's all because of the trust that we have back and forth with us and our drivers. And that's a huge thing. So they trust us. They know that what we're going to tell them is for the best of them, which when they are at their best, they bring to the company their best. And so
one of our drivers, one of our lady drivers is at Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University Conference.
That's right.
So we really promote,
Mhm.
Bonnie and I have
Yeah.
read just about all Dave Ramsey's books and so on. We've
Mhm.
never been to one of his conferences,
No.
love to go. But so we share those books again on Bonnie Talk. We have a library here. We share those books with the drivers too and help them get on the right path as far as what they're spending money on. And that's another issue you see come up. Overeating, smoking, spending money on just things that are not necessary to find happiness. So find out, why, what's lacking? What can I do to regain that happiness? So sounds corny, but it is what it is.
No, yeah, it's absolutely true. Now connected to that financial literacy thing, I believe that if and when a driver wants to become a lease operator, you have a sit down with them and talk about what that actually means. That is not always the case in the industry, I'm sure. As you know, there are a lot of predatory practices out there, and there are also like honest practices, but drivers who just don't know how to run a business, and so
Right.
finding a way through that.
He has a spreadsheet that shows the owner operator and company driver pay comparison, everything line item all the way down to the bottom, so they can make the decision based on what is best for their family, for them. It's pretty similar for the most part. Right now, company drivers are truly making more than owner operators in the market that we're in the country. So knowing that, but if they still want to pursue being an owner operator, we help them purchase the truck, whether it's through us or someone else. They're actually going to own the truck, and our whopping 1.5-page contract that we have that doesn't have 15 pages of how we can
terms and conditions,
or all the legal jargon from a lawyer that just turns in circles. So
right.
So it's very straightforward and it's very honest, and it's so we've seen a lot of dreams come true. It's pretty cool.
We want them to be successful, whether it be company driver or lease. We want them to be successful, and then when they are and they're happy, they bring that tenfold back to the company.
Right. So Bonnie, you said something actually, there's a little video on your landing page and where different people are interviewed. And when you said, basically their values are my values, right? There's a connection there.
Yep.
And so I want to pivot a little bit to, so certainly for your drivers, when you've got that value alignment, everything's great. When you're bringing new folks on, and this is like a new friendship, you aren't immediately sure, whether there's a value alignment there. And of course, a new driver wants a job, they definitely want to work for you. They're gonna say yes, it's an absolute value alignment. How do you judge or mediate that sort of marriage and make sure that someone new coming into the culture is in fact a value match?
Well, during the interview process, there is a lot of the questions revolve around what we call our roadmap to success, which is our values. So a lot of questions are centered around that. They get the information ahead of time. Then day one, day two, there's our roadmap to success training. There's history training of how Brenny became. So they understand the background of why we're here and the reasons why we do what we do. Can we get everything in the last 28 years into 30 minutes? No, but we do the best we can and we pull what we can from there. Then also at that time, we have what we do 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year reviews. And then from there, it's twice a year. And so we're constantly talking about our roadmap to success. It's not something that's up on the wall and just stays there. We are constantly living and breathing by it. In all of our safety meetings, we read that at the beginning of our safety meetings, and we have them twice a month. We have a separate driver Facebook page, and it's on there. We talk about it. We reference it regularly. So it's not something that just gets publicized and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we live and breathe by. And nowhere in there does it say we're perfect, but it does say that we hold each other accountable and we're going to protect that. So that's why we have to continue holding people accountable and ourselves, because we're not perfect either. So we need to make sure that we protect that. And when we protect that, we're protecting our team with it.
Right. And Bonnie and I are both, if we mess up, we'll make a point of apologizing publicly to our team so that they know it's okay for them to do that as well. And also to take the chances. I say all the time, so if you're not putting your toe over the border line a little bit, taking those chances, then you're not trying hard enough. Because here at Brenny, you can always say you're sorry, and we will forgive if you truly are, moving forward and honest in that endeavor. So it's
to have the folks at the top being ready to apologize for something.
Right.
It shouldn't be rare.
Right.
I think we can agree that it is, but it shouldn't be. That's
too much ego in trucking, too much ego out there, point blank.
Yeah. So the roadmap for success, I've got it up on my other screen here, but for people who aren't familiar with it, is that a program just for the company? Is it for individuals? What is it and how does it work?
It's the entire team. It's if you're part of the Brenny team, I mean, we have it here too. It's just for everyone to, there it is, to reference. And, we have team building. This is something that probably not many people do. Every Wednesday at noon, we shut the phone off for an hour, and each area we have team building meetings. And again, we go through, are we living up to everything on our roadmap to success? Is there anything that we had some weakness in this last week? Is there anything that needs to be confronted? I mean, it's just a living, breathing roadmap. I mean, and it's there for us. And again, it's a roadmap. It's not written in blood. It's for us to make sure we're going in the right direction and help guide us.
Right.
And every year we reevaluate our roadmap to success. And it's not Joyce and I doing it. We have our team advisory committee, which is people that have been selected from our team that live up to our roadmap. And so we put it forth to them every year and say, is there anything that you feel that we need to change with this? And so it's coming from our team of what this is, of what our team needs to be living up to.
And the team advisory is made up of 50% drivers and 50% behind the scenes team members. So drivers and behind the scenes working together to make sure that we're all, on the same page and rolling forward.
So you have, I'm just checking my notes here. You've got a driver review board and then you've got a team advisory committee, right? So what's the difference between those two?
I said, the team advisory would be more overall, encompassing the entire company. It could be anything from, example, last year, should we pave the parking lot and how much money should we spend?
Okay.
To the driver review board dealing with driver concerns or possibly safety questions, more driver related with the driver review board. And the team advisory is just everything and anything you can imagine. And it could be something behavior related too regarding a team member, but for the most part they're just driver and entire team. So
yeah. Okay. I do want to, there's so many more things I want to tackle here. Your psychology degree.
Yes.
Psychology, of course, it happens wherever people are, and there happen to be people in trucking, right?
Yeah.
So you use personality tests in various places, and you used to use Myers-Briggs. Is that right? But then you decided, so there are companies that don't do that at all. Then there are companies who do, and you've gone the next step. You're like, hey, we're using this personality test. It's not working for me, to reevaluate that. And then we've got this new one. What how did that process work? What sparked that change, and is it
Well,
working for you?
we did some research on the 16 personality type indicator, and we just found that it was giving more positive feedback as far as what their strengths are and what they're good at, and just digging in a little bit to that, and also talks about what you're not so good at. So we started doing that, and similar to the Myers-Briggs, we're finding that our drivers fit for the most part in two personality types. So again, kind of going with it in every career takes a certain different personality. I mean, from being a lawyer to a doctor to a professional truck driver, it takes a special personality. And we're finding there are two basic personalities that fit into being the safest, um, best professional driver on the road at Brenny. I can't speak for everyone, but at Brenny, those two personalities are the majority of our drivers.
Huh.
And it's turned into something kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, every team member does the personality test, and then I don't like calling it test type indicator. And then we do team building projects based on that as well. And we do that with the drivers too. And I think the drivers get kind of, at first they're a little, why don't we do what? And then they go, yeah, that is me. Yeah. Oh yeah, I am not real good at that. Oh yeah, I am good at it. I'm a rock star at that. And they find it kind of interesting that it's out there and they can learn more about themselves. And it helps because when you're running into a weakness, it kind of clicks in your head. Okay, this might be one of those things I need to ask someone's help for because it's not my strong suit. So it's helpful. And we do that in a way that we have all these different personalities behind the scenes. We're here to help you if something doesn't fit what you are good at or like to do.
Right. I'm really starting to get it now. why you do so well in the Best Leads program. And I think that there are very small companies that rely on the people power, right? Like those really intimate relationships, but they don't have a lot of structure and approach because they're so small. You have the very, very big ones who have these big programs, but you completely lose the personal touch. And it seems like you have threaded that needle, and you do have these robust programs. You got these things, you got the romantic success, you've got, financial literacy, all this stuff, but then you have not lost, and you really pay attention to those intimate moments of like actually connecting with people as people. And
yeah, we quite a few years ago we said that we want to be the best, we don't want to be the biggest, and that's just going to be our approach. There was 1 year we set our goal. I don't know why we did it, but we did. 1 year that we said we are going to grow by X number amount of trucks and X number amount of money. And that's what we're going to do. So we focus on the money and the growth and the money and the growth. And we got our butts kicked that year. So we said we're a people company, and we get eye rolls from everyone because of that. And it's like we're going back to what we do and who we know, and knowing our team and getting to know our team. And that's what we're about. We're about people. And it's the same way with our customers. We don't haul for the biggest of the biggest shippers and receivers. We haul for the companies that are similar size to us. And we can shake hands, go to lunch, meet up for a drink. It's just the relationships, again, is all about that for Brenny. So we tried it the other way, it didn't work.
So let's go up one more level to leadership on two fronts. The first is leadership development. So I believe you've got a program for like your next leader program. Is that right? Where you are teaching people how to lead. Is that right? Because if you've ever worked for a bad boss, I don't. My boss is watching this. I don't, but it's happened in the past. The job can be great otherwise, but if you've got a bad boss, right, it's just terrible. So can you tell me a bit about how you think about developing your supervisors and leaders?
Well, I guess it comes again from the many books Bonnie and I have both read, And then getting the hands-on, getting out and going to, we belong to so many different associations and so on, from the Minnesota Trucking to the American Trucking, TIA, all our local chambers and so on. But getting people out to shake hands, and then the leadership behind the scenes, the educational part of it. And we read a lot of books. And so, I mean, we always say, if you're going to be leading, you better be reading. So that's just part of what we do. And another saying that we always say around here too, it's like, the only thing that's going to make you a better person tomorrow are the books you read and the people that you meet. So we combine that, both reading and getting to meet people, so that your leadership skills are, fine-tuned, and you can lead different types of people. I think that's kind of a roadblock. Everyone expects, if you don't get along with someone, that, oh gosh, the world's going to end. I used to, and Bonnie always giggled at me back when I was more out in the operations side of things. If there was someone that I didn't particularly like or get along with, I'd sit next to them. That's where I placed that's where I placed my stuff, and that's where I hung out and got to know them. More times than not, that's what it's about. Our team development starts with trust being the top layer. So getting to know people is the first thing that you need to do to build trust. And you find out that you maybe have more in common than you realized by just getting to know people.
Right. Now,
and on another note with that, in regards to mentoring with leaders and getting them to that next level, I remember this was years ago, and Joyce had promoted me, and I had asked her, I said, so what's now going to change from what I'm doing? She goes, nothing, because you're already doing it. And that's one of the things that we have also incorporated here is, if people are going to be in leadership, they're going to show it. If they want that bad enough, they are going to show it, no matter if they have the title or not. And that's what we have to go with. And then from there, we're mentoring them more, and they don't even realize sometimes that they are doing those leadership qualities. And then when we feel it's right, then we offer them the position.
So let's come down to it. Quite often, when, and certainly at the big conferences and things like that, when you see women leaders in trucking, one of the first questions, tell me about what it's like to be a woman in trucking, right? And quite often what gets eclipsed is your experience and expertise as transportation experts, right? Separate from that, like, I've enjoyed this process talking to you because you're a transportation experts and you're experts at running this company. That said, I think it is important to talk about the experiences of women in trucking, and certainly being leaders in the industry. Can you tell me a little bit about your experiences, your insights, and then I have an advice question at the end.
Well, I think just, Bonnie and I have both been very involved in the industry and in different associations. I'm on the ATA Executive Council. That's my newest position, which is really neat. But again, the reason why we're involved is so that our drivers and our team have a voice. And that really the ATA, that's the only reason I'm there, is because we need truck drivers to have a voice at that level. And it's so important. So our drivers and industry drivers know that Joyce Brenny is there to have a voice for drivers. They know that about me. And Bonnie is really involved with the TIA. You can tell about some of the things that you've done, the ethics committee and.
Yep, the ethics committee, and then just any of the, we created the carrier broker agreement. We have also, the list goes on, and I'm kind of trying to figure out all of those things, but when you do so many things, and with what we do, you just do it because that's what you're supposed to be doing. It's to be able to help other people. And so it's hard for either one of us to be able to necessarily brag about what it is that we do or have done, because it's just who we are. We want to help other people. That's our nature. And we don't think of it as any different. And so,
yeah, so it's, and I think that, you know, you're saying, I kind of, I guess both of us, because we've been in the only career either one of us have had, is trucking. So when we go to events, we don't really think of it being that we're any different than anyone else that's there. It's just, you know, we're truckers.
Right.
That's what we do.
that's it.
Right.
And I do think over the years there have been, like I said, sometimes I get eye rolls because of some of the things we do here at Brenny. But it's kind of funny how many of them are doing them now. But back 20 years ago, they weren't cool. But now all of a sudden they're cool when the driver retention was such a, or is such a huge issue in our industry. And it's, you know, we have a 90% retention. And I tell people that, and again, it's like, well, how do you do that? You probably wouldn't do it.
I don't really think it's complicated, where it's just they're people, they're humans. So that it's not a truck.
Right.
There's an actual live person that is driving that truck, that has a family, that has things on their mind, just like everyone else.
And I don't know if you've heard of Trucking Families Appreciation Week, which is always the last week after Valentine's week. And that was established in 2012 by Brenny. And it's national now, so it does get publicized in different, you know, media outlets. But Trucking Families Appreciation Week, again, if you don't have the family behind that driver, supporting, taking care of what goes on at home, it's really hard to get on the road and get that job done and have your head in the game of safety and so on. So we, every February, the families of our drivers, we get little gifts for them. We write them thank you cards. We have a little potluck here at Brenny, involve the kids, get the kids up in the trucks and drive them around the parking lot. And
I don't want CJ in the bag.
Yeah. Just have fun and, you know, have them understand how important their significant other is that's behind the wheel.
That relationship portion. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If I were, because I know there are a couple people who are going to be watching this podcast. They are young women starting out in the industry, like early mid-20s, and they're just really starting to cut their teeth. Do you have any advice for them on things they're going to face, things that they're going to have to learn, things they're going to have to put up with, and how to make it in the industry as ultimately a leader in trucking?
You know, and I think I've been asked that question quite a few times. I kind of fine-tuned it to, are you tough enough for trucking? And I think that any type of a leadership position in the trucking industry, you have to be tough enough. And it's any way you look at it, there's no fluff when it comes to trucking. It's a 24/7 industry. And if you're not willing to sacrifice that kind of time, it's really, I would suggest doing something else, because it's, I wrote an article. I should send it to you. I will, because it'll tell the story, but it's all encompassing. My family is, our fun is trucking, are the things we do. You know, it might be a truck show. It could be a parade. Tomorrow night is a Touch the Truck event at a local school. Our family is just like that. So we make the entire job our fun too. And so it's a sacrifice, because if you're not doing that, I don't think that you're going to be successful. I don't think. And it's not all consuming. You have to learn how to enjoy those things that are industry related, but make them fun. You know, parades and polishing trucks, you know, and laughing because of it. Yeah, I mean, it's everything.
So
you're on call 24/7.
Right. So it's not a job where you can just go for 8 hours or 10 hours and then go
No.
home again and live a completely different life. It's because people are going to know that you're just sort of a part-time industry person, right?
Yep. Last weekend, we take turns being on call. Last weekend, Bonnie was, or last week, Bonnie was on call, dealt with 4 broke down trucks. Well, between, which is a lot at one time, between, her dealing with that and then, getting Todd and myself involved and, what should we do about tow events? What should we do? The driver hotels, some of them have animals. So we're, another, can we get them into motels that accept pets and, just all those things that went on in just one weekend.
Mhm.
And, that's not normal, but be
It happens.
prepared, just getting all mad about it, like another broke down truck. Won't fix it. No.
That's the job.
It's so I guess for women, and I'm not one to really just like separate. It's an individual thing. Again, are you someone that truly can, uh, handle the stress of a 24/7 industry and answer to all the obstacles that involves? There's a lot of rewards, no doubt, but it's a big job.
It's a big job. There it is. And that really kind of sums it up, both being in the industry and the work that you folks are doing too. It's a big job. And this has been such a joy. I really appreciate being able to spend this time with you and to learn a lot more, both about how Brenny runs and also your approach to not just the business, but to people, and the acknowledgement that that's kind of the same thing, right? Like it's a people business, right? Yes, you're
Absolutely.
moving large chunks of granite, but it's a people business.
That's
So
right.
I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Opportunity.
And,
Wonderful.
and it's congratulations again on hitting that top
Thank you.
20.
It's an honor.
It's not surprising. Yes, I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good rest of the day.
Bye.